welcome to another episode of Kangaroos, where we want you to serve your clients instead of fretting over your socials. Happy Wednesday, Rachel.
Happy Wednesday. We have a guest with us today.
All right.
She is extra special. Marie Lee, welcome to our podcast.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Okay, every week we kick it off with the question of the day. This week we're in the holidays, so white Christmas or warm Christmas?
I'm gonna have to go with the white Christmas. I feel like if I could put myself in a white Vermont-esque, like New England winter, that's definitely my choice pick.
Man, super specific on Vermont too. I like that.
I love that you said that because I'm in a book club and we just read this. Basically, it's a Hallmark movie in a book, and the whole setting was Vermont at Christmas. So, like, it's a thing.
I've never been to Vermont. I just assumed that I would love it. But
I haven't either. But the book made it sound awesome. So,
yeah.
Okay, Andrew.
I don't think there is a real choice here. It's white Christmas or nothing. Like it is, man, I want it only for Christmas. I don't want winter to be snowy till March or April. But man, give me a white Christmas every year.
Agreed. I think white Christmas wins today. As if there was any other choice. But
I did do warm Christmas. I went to Hawaii one year and it was not the same. I was like, this is fun, but definitely would enjoy the typical holiday season maybe a little bit more.
I agree. Okay. Every week we also have a challenge of the week, which this week is to make a reel of your favorite local Christmas display. So Nashville has plenty of amazing Christmas decorations and opportunities. Find your favorite, make a reel, load it, and tell people where to go. All right, let's get started.
Marie, I want to know a little bit more about how you were a mascot. Will you tell us all about your collegiate career?
Sure thing, Andrew. So, when I was in college, I went to a small commuter school. It was a satellite of Auburn, around 5,000 students. And all of my friends had gone off to these large universities. So I had to find something to get plugged into, make my experience worthwhile. And one day I was walking down the breezeway and the mascot coach approached me. He was a cheer and mascot coach. He was like, "Hey, we're hosting tryouts." I think he asked me if I wanted to participate, thinking I would try to become a cheerleader. I think it threw everyone for a loop when I was like, sure. And I went to the mascot tryout. So I went through tryouts, and it turns out I was the pioneer, the original mascot for my university. So piloted that program, and it took me to new heights. Our mascot was a bird, and we had a lot of fun building that program, doing a lot of travel, a lot of appearances, even got to go to the national championships in Orlando for the Universal Cheer Association. So,
well, that's real fun. Do you feel like you became a different person once you had the costume? Do you call it costumes? The outfit, the uniform, the
suit.
The suit.
I'll be honest. I feel like I just disassociated with my normal self and like went full-fledged into character mode. It's so different. You can't make normal movements. Everything you do has to be so exaggerated just because that suit is so large. And then you're trying to embody a personality. Like there's a character profile that you're given and you're trying to mimic these same types of mannerisms or personality. So it's a very specific, fun world. I would say everybody's got to give it a try. I don't know if that's the truth, but it definitely helped shape me into who I am today. I don't know about that.
I do want to know how it helped transition you into real estate. So how you're now in real estate here in Nashville.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I can't say I made the jump from mascot to real estate agent, but when I was in college, I studied education, but I thought there's got to be something else out there. Nothing against education. I had like these big visions of doing something a lot bigger than I was, and I just didn't know what that was. So when I graduated, I actually signed up for Teach for America, and that's what brought me here to Nashville. I flipped a coin. It was between Nashville and Houston, and I moved here a month later, began the program, taught in Metro Nashville Public Schools for about 4 years. And then I decided it was time for something different. Not that I didn't love the kids, not that I didn't love teaching, but just sometimes the politics of teaching really wears you down. And I didn't have an exit plan. This was before the mass teacher exodus, so people weren't very receptive to receiving teachers. So I quit teaching, and I didn't have a plan. So I was just applying for a bunch of jobs, couldn't get anybody to consider me. And then I tried starting up a business. I was doing e-commerce for a while. When COVID hit, I had to shut that down. So I was like, I really have nothing else to do. I have no other options. So I was like, all right, I'm going to hop into real estate. My now husband was a lender at that point in time. He had worked in the refinance world. He's like, I think you'd be really good in real estate. So I decided to hop on that side. And it just worked out. Here we are 2 years later, still going strong.
Do you always recommend your husband to do the lending for all of your houses?
Everyone always asks that, and they're like, oh, you must have had such an easy transition. But the fun fact is he was working on refinances. So he didn't help me. He couldn't, he wasn't giving me business. So he didn't want to work with me. He was like, I want you to focus on building your relationships with other lenders. You will always have me in your back pocket. And I was like, okay, that's great. And it is great. He just recently transitioned out of the mortgage world and is actually planning on joining me in real estate. So, yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
That's a fun story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is so much. That is so awesome. And like, I'm still stuck on like how I would be a bird. Like that would be very difficult. I don't know that I could exaggerate my movements that much naturally. Well, so Andrew and I, we've talked to you for a while. Like we've started this company for realtors that really helps. We provide content for social media, but we also do a lot of coaching. And we've watched you, not creepily, but we've watched you on Instagram and think she does a really great job. And she also is passionate about educating people about how social media can be used for your benefit and how it can be fun and how it can be really good. I think social media tends to get a bad rap, and like there's definitely things that are icky about it, but it doesn't have to be that way. So that said, why do you think social media is so important for realtors?
I feel like social media is the best way to gain business organically, or efficiently. I feel like the one thing social media allows you the opportunity to do is to attract your ideal clients. Like instead of me going out and prospecting, I'm trying to create content that will lure my ideal clients to me. And to be honest, social media, once I really started focusing on it, it allowed me to pivot my lead generation. My lead generation now is just mostly focused on creating content, engaging with people, creating things of value that I can provide to people who are on these platforms, rather than hosting open houses every single weekend or door knocking or cold calling. These were things that I was trying out originally in my business when I first started, and it was great. It gave me great content to create, like filming behind the scenes of an open house, but it was just so time consuming. And then once I made that pivot and shift to, hey, why don't I just focus my time, effort, and energy on social? Then I got to the point where I was batch creating content, which was saving me so much time. I'm no longer doing all these very time consuming activities. There will be times where like I'll be laying in bed. Maybe this is not good. Don't put this in the podcast. But I'll be laying in bed posting a reel, and I'm like, I could be like out and about and in public, trying to meet people. But instead, here I am in the comforts of my own bed. I don't mean that in a non-professional way, but just, when you build up enough content, you have the ability to work from wherever you want. I can work and post content wherever I'm at. I don't have to be somewhere in a specific area. So I feel like it's a very long-winded answer, but I feel like those are the best leads. Instead of me trying to source out business, having business sourced to me because they know me, they like me, and they trust me just by showing up on video, showing my personality, giving some insight and educating along the way.
That's a really good answer. I think
Solid.
what you really nailed too is the freedom aspect of using social as all those things that you've just described. One, it shows your personality, which this business, that's very important. Like, you want to work with someone that you feel like has a good personality and that you're going to click with. And it's sort of like you've met them before you've met them. So you've disarmed people a little bit about all the unknowns when they've seen you on socials, which is a point we try to make a lot to the people that we're helping. But they're going to meet you anyway. So like, why not online first, right? So there's a lot of people that we talk to, and I'm sure similar because I know you mentor people as well, that are just nervous about producing content.
It's super intimidating, or it can be.
Yeah, it can be. I think what Kangaroos does as a baseline is just provide content to post, but then we really coach you to add things along the way that allow you to personalize your feeds a little bit more than even what we're providing. And so I think, right, there's a nervousness that comes with that. It feels unnatural, but like anything, the more you do it, the more natural it feels, right? So what tips do you have for people that are nervous to get started, or what would you tell them to avoid doing at first? What are some of your tips for them?
I think first off, it is very intimidating, and I would be lying if I said I don't still feel that intimidation today. I do, especially with all the algorithm changes. I feel like it can make you feel like you don't know what you're doing. But my piece of advice would be, instead of focusing on what you're creating and putting out for the world, you got to focus on creating it, making it for one specific person. I think when you narrow it down from a potential audience of the entire internet to one specific person, it becomes a little bit more accessible. Maybe it removes that barrier or lowers that barrier of creating content. Like, if I'm going to get up and speak in front of a huge public audience, that's intimidating. But if I'm having a one-on-one conversation with somebody, that's casual. So once you feel casual in front of the camera, your energy flows better. It's just a way better experience for everyone all around. I think that's probably the one tangible thing that I'd recommend to people.
I have a lot of mentors that have shaped the way that I go about my daily life, business, family, everything. Do you have any mentors that have helped you in the real estate space, and what kind of, help did they, or what kind of advice did they have for you?
Yeah. So it's interesting. I feel like in terms of content, I don't really have a mentor. There are people who I look up to, but nobody who I specifically go to and ask questions. So I'll source some inspiration, like Vanessa Lau. She's a person who I draw a lot of inspiration from. Yeah, that's the only person that's coming to my mind. That's right. I've been binging her content a lot recently. But in terms of real estate, I call my broker all the time. My broker, Charlie Peterson, founded Tyler York with the idea of real estate being entrepreneurial and everybody having their own specific niche, their own specific business type. And for me, he saw the power of social, and he actually reached out to me and he was like, hey, this is a really special thing that you're doing. How can we help you hone in on this? So he just gave me the support, and he gave me the belief that, hey, this is a tangible opportunity here in front of me to grow my business. Whereas I was at a previous brokerage and they were telling me to stop doing this. I need to focus on income producing activities. So Charlie gave me the belief in what I was doing, and then he just gave me the support along the way. And I'm calling him up almost every single day with questions about real estate. I feel like one of the best things you can do as an agent is to be educated and informed. And I'm always running scenarios around him or asking for additional insight. I feel like that's one of the best tools that I have in my back pocket as an agent.
Well, just a quick, I've probably spent less than an hour on the Tyler York site. It is gorgeous. And so I want to give Mike Stuckey, I assume, a pretty big shout out. Just like all the images are beautiful. The design is beautiful. So shout out to Mike Stuckey.
Yeah. We see lots of sites in our world. And they each have their own personality for sure, but
this one's beautiful.
Definitely very well done. Kudos.
Thank you. I think they very much prioritized branding and
as
the
you
outward
should.
Look.
That's
Agreed.
Right. Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. You sort of touched on this a little bit, but we like to think outside the box over here. We like to try new things. And we like maybe non-traditional ways of learning. So instead of thinking, and, in the case of a realtor, of like continued education being these literal classes that you have to go take to keep your license up to date, which, important, those things matter. But like, that is not where education should stop. And so what are the things that you do to keep a pulse on the market and grow your business that might not be the things that are like so expected, quote?
Yeah, I think the best thing you can do is be in the market. So there will be periods of time where I might not constantly be in homes, or I might not constantly be doing showings, but it's the periods in which I am that I feel the most in tune with what's going on. I know exactly what sellers are thinking. I know what buyers want. And I feel like that gives me a really great insight to be able to delve into some data, to be able to look at market reports, understand the difference between list price and sales price, days on market, and all of that. I feel like understanding those things and understanding what it is that sellers have to provide for product at the moment gives you a really strong hand of how to best sell the benefit to your clients. So, like for me, if I know, hey, sellers are doing the absolute most to get their homes ready. If you were trying to buy a home within the last 2 years, but maybe you couldn't handle doing renovations and things like that when sellers knew that they didn't have to do those things in order to get top dollar, but they're having to do them now. This would be a great time if you're looking for a lower maintenance home that you're trying to get into. If you are looking to have your closing costs covered, now is the time to do it. But just being in the market, understanding what it is that people are having to offer, and then learning how to be able to curate that to your clients, I feel like gives you a really competitive edge. And that all starts by being in homes. That's what you're selling, right?
Yeah.
Man, that's a great answer. Yeah. Rachel and I both have a pretty strategic brain, and we've also been in Nashville long enough, before it was cool to be here. But, where should we be looking? Where should we strategize on, what's our next property that we should buy, or where, it was the Nations for a bit, and then everybody started moving to Franklin, and then it was East. And so like, where should we be looking? I've heard Pulaski, which is down, it's so far south. Well, the UT just bought the community college there, and they're going to turn it into UT South. And so everybody is thinking that, man, it's going to blow up in a couple of years. And so, man, that's really far away.
I've been told Donaldson is like the new hip, like it's sort of already that way. It's a little under the radar, but people are thinking that'll be like the next like Sylvan Park area.
Yeah, I think there are two places that come to my mind. Two places where I've done a lot of deals recently and seen a lot of appreciation. Donaldson is one, and then North Nashville has been the other. Mm-hmm. So the 37214 zip code, Donaldson. I feel like when COVID hit, that, of course, like everything else exploded, but it exploded in a different way because there's so many historical homes there. They have large lots, and they're getting ready to impose they're getting ready to like preserve that character through historical overlays. So I have people that are looking there specifically for that because you can't make more land in Nashville. So I feel like Donaldson's a really good residential area. It's also going to be a really good area for restaurants and things like that. Edley's just opened up another location over there. New breweries popping up, coffee shops. They just opened up a Dutch Bros. Like, I feel like they're getting all the fun stuff. But North
You had me at
Nashville,
coffee and barbecue. Sure.
Yeah.
the two staples of my diet.
Yeah.
1000% for Andrew. You don't even know how true that is.
Then for North Nashville, the 37207 zip code, nobody would have touched that zip code with a 10-foot pole like 3 or 4 years ago. But the moment that Oracle made their announcement, hey, we're coming to Nashville and we're going to build in this zip code, prices skyrocketed. And I see so much development going on over there. So lots of flips, lots of teardowns and rebuilds, lots of apartment complexes, because it's so close to the city and it's going to be near that new East Bank development. So they're getting ready to revitalize all of North Nashville to accommodate the new Titan Stadium, new riverfront development. It's a really great place to be, I think, if you're looking for appreciation.
Super important. And Andrew and I always love those tips. So keep them coming because
If you want to talk about data, yeah, I feel like when it comes, you guys just talked about strategy being such a key point of your business. I feel like that's maybe I've tried to think about things a little too strategically, but I feel like that's always the mindset that I'm coming from. How can I do this in the best way possible? So
Of course, it makes
That's
it
the
efficient
best
and
way.
effective. Yeah.
Yeah. We love that. We love that
Yeah.
around here. Okay. Another thing that we really love to do since we try to stay local to our markets that we serve is talking about small businesses. They are the backbone of every community. So what are a couple of your favorites?
Well, if I had to go for a restaurant, I'd probably have to say Mitchell's Deli over in East Nashville. Best sandwich in Nashville, hands down. And
Hands
it's like
down.
we're one of the first places that I was introduced to once I moved here. But a place that I frequent pretty often is Nick Nash. It's this little Nashville local store over at Opry Mills. I feel like I buy almost all my closing gifts there. Little fun Nashville signs, Nashville decor. They have all local vendors. They have a wide variety of things. I've been there probably 3 times within the last 2 weeks. I feel like I should get some sort of discount code or something. The amount of money I've been spending there recently. But I would say it's probably my 2 favorite spots.
It's a
And
fun
then
name, too.
That
Nick
is a fun
Nash.
name.
The fun fact is they're right across the hall from the Nashville store, but the Nashville store, I think their product is in nowhere near comparable to Nick Nash. So I'm walking across from their competitor every day and I just think, what a fun predicament to be in. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's true. It's the Nashville store. Hopefully they're not listening, but it does feel a little bit more commercial and less like genuine, maybe. It's big. And Andrew and I have talked about this in other ways. It's like there is like the Nashville we all know and love. And then there's like the commercial Nashville that's like, oh, like we appreciate it because there's good that comes, but also it just changes the Nashville that we know, you know? And so you kind of have to take it. I mean, I guess if we want the growth that we're seeing, but it is like, oh man, it's kind of sad to see some of the things that have been like pretty historic be moved out because of the growth that we're experiencing.
I know.
I'm real bitter about Exit In right now.
Real
This is
bitter.
I
like
was just thinking about Exit In. Emma's flower shop right next to it. I walked right
Yes.
past it this week and I saw that it had been torn down. I was like, this is so depressing. All of the fun, cute characteristics. So preserve Nashville. I guess that's the question is how do you preserve Nashville but continue the growth? We're all asking ourselves that question.
I
So
wish we had a really good answer. I don't have it yet, but no one's asked me, so maybe someone should, and I'll tell them what I think.
okay.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about today or anything else you would like to highlight?
Yeah, I feel like it kind of caught me off guard with that question. Not that it's coming up to my mind. But I feel like Kangaroos has an opportunity to really fill in some gaps that lack in the social media space, especially with you guys focusing specifically on local content. Like, if you're trying to gain a following, you're trying to spread a message to the masses. But if you're trying to gain clients, you are trying to get in front of local personnel or people who are going to be local personnel. And the best way to do that's with local content. People make general and generic content all the time, but I've seen an uptick. I've done a lot of general content, which has gotten me lots of followers and likes. But recently, I feel like I've been doing a lot more Nashville content. And I've had a huge uptick over the last month, just in leads, prospects, people. Hey, I want to move to Nashville. I'm interested in this area that you were just talking about in your video. So yeah, localized content all the way.
We appreciate that, but we feel the same way. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Andrew and I have a pretty hefty background in marketing between the two of us. And like, this all started when we had a couple of friends that were realtors, especially during the past couple of years in Nashville. We know that this has been an insane time to be a realtor because there is or at least for a while, there was more business than you could keep up with. It was a place to be. There was not enough housing. It was crazy. And so they recognized the need for their socials to remain a priority, but also there are 24 hours in a day and I need at least 2 to sleep, And so we were like, well, we can come in and help with some of that, which is really how this got started. But it's sort of, I love what you said about the difference between growing an audience and growing a lead audience, which are two different things. It's great to have followers, and who knows, maybe that person in Idaho will turn into a lead one day. But really what we're trying to do is grow audiences that are going to turn into customers and clients for you. And so there's a difference in that. Also, it might not happen as quickly. And so it's really just being consistent and posting, and the algorithms are always changing. And so we're always make it a mixed bag in terms of what you're posting, still imagery, videos, stories, do it all, because then you're capturing the algorithm wherever it is on the day, because it changes by the day. No one can keep up with it. Hour by hour, we all have to learn together because no one tells us when things are about to change. We just have to figure it out. But I love that you made that differentiation, because I feel like we're having those conversations with our members all the time. It's no, just remember to keep your focus. If your focus is to be an influencer, then yes, you want to grow a large audience, and that's a whole lot of work. And let me sit down and talk to you about what that really requires. But if it's to just grow your client base and potential clients, that's different. And so types of content are different too. So I love that you made that differentiator. Okay. I just said a lot and I said it fast. So Andrew might have to slow me down on the other side of this.
Same.
Okay. We sort of touched on this in your last answer about favorite local businesses, but we have come across some fun places for home decor. I feel like for people that are new to town, especially, and are trying to furnish and decorate their homes, we like to highlight some of our favorites. So if you have a favorite, what is it?
I am team Nashco all the way. I feel like they've got some affordable pieces, but they're fun, cute pieces of furniture. I've had a couple of relocation clients that have brought that to me, and they're like, hey, this is the place to go. And you go and check it out. It's oh, these are really cute, fun, modern, quirky little pieces at an affordable price. So Nashco, if it's not on your radar, it should be.
I love that. Man, I'm going to sound like a broken record, and it's probably because I just love Franklin so much. But
you're going to take my answer.
Well, I don't know. I would just say Main Street in downtown Franklin has so many fun little shops, but there are also some little antique shops right off of Main Street that are pretty phenomenal. Did I steal your answer?
Sort of. I was going to say Onyx and Alabaster.
Oh, my goodness. Yep.
Franklin is really to die for. And they have design consultants. So if you're one of those people that doesn't have a vision for yourself.
And coffee.
And they do have a coffee shop that's excellent.
Are you
my
one of the
problem-
designers?
I am not one of the designers.
Oh.
I need that help. Do you see this room behind me? Like, I still got 2013 beige walls in my office.
Oh. Vision typically isn't my problem. It's the budget where I'm like, oh, I see lots of things that I would love to take home with me, but I want to stay married. So, one piece at a time.
I get overwhelmed by the decisions. I'm like, what if I don't like this in a month and I just can't commit to buying furniture or designing? So that's why we're still, hitting the early 2010s decor behind me. But
beige is coming back. So maybe let it be.
Is
It's
it?
like that. That's what they say. Beiges and creams are now the new gray. I don't know how much I believe it, but we'll see. We'll see where 2023 takes us. I mean, a couple of the colors of the year, I'm like,
I was just going to say, Sherwin-Williams did this light pink mauve-ish color for 2023. And I thought, I remember that being in my house in the early 2000s and not being a fan.
yeah.
So
it feels very Home Alone,
yep.
very Home Alone-esque. Some of those colors, I'm like, well, that house is back in. They wouldn't have to remodel anything. I'm not ready to commit to that yet, is what I'm saying. Okay. That was long. Sorry, Andrew.
Marie, thank you so much for joining us today. I think, most excited about you pioneering our mascot system. So we've got Ruby Joe is our little mascot. And so we probably ought to get a mascot made, and then you can do that for us. That'd be
Ruby
great.
Joe.
I
You
mean,
can at least teach Andrew how to be Ruby Joe.
mascots can make or break a brand. I just think about Duolingo. I see that little bird everywhere on TikTok, and he's one of my favorite accounts to follow. And yeah, who would have thought that a mascot would have several millions of followers and be one of the most loved personalities on social media?
Maybe we should start a Instagram for Ruby Joe.
Yeah.
I feel like that's your Christmas break project, Andrew.
Okay, thank you. If you're enjoying our podcast, will you please rate and review that and then share it with all of your friends? Also, if you're a realtor that needs a little bit of assistance with their social, we are here to help. What is our discount code?
Our discount code is first month 50. So first month spelled out, 50, the numbers, gets you 50% off your first month subscription.
Marie Lee at Tyler York. Thank you. So much
problem. Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me, and I hope that you guys get to enjoy the upcoming holiday season.
Likewise. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.